How often do you encounter something that feels completely impossible? Because I do a lot. And it may not be something where I go, this is impossible, right? I may not explicitly think or say that it's impossible, but there are times when I run into something where maybe it's a milder version where I go, this should not be this hard. This should not be this difficult. Why is this so difficult and frustrating? And then there are times when I go, oh, this literally can't be done, so we're not going to do this. Well, I've had a few instances where I go, oh, wait, turns out it can be done. And in playing Hades 2 recently, now there was not anything in the game that made me go, this is impossible. But there's a theme in the game. There was a moment in the game that reminded me of this concept. And I ran into this at work too. And just across my life, I keep running into this idea of like what is actually impossible versus just very difficult if you keep trying to do it the way you've been trying to do it. And that's what I want to talk about in today's episode. This is Game, Develop, Repeat. I'm your host, Chris, and as always, thank you for joining me. I've been playing Hades 2 recently, and it has a theme that most roguelikes have, a theme expressed through gameplay, which is try again, and eventually you'll get there, right? There's this feeling in roguelikes of, well, you're not going to make it the first time, but you're going to learn a lot, and then the second time you'll learn some more. Depending on the roguelike, your character will progress, and you will unlock new things that will make your whole journey easier or more interesting, and eventually you have a chance of actually beating the game. It is a great genre. It is a great mechanic within those games. That's one of my favorite things about roguelikes is that as you play them, it gives you this idea expressed through gameplay of progress, not just in your character, but in your skills as a player, in your knowledge of the game. And roguelikes tend to invite you to explore in wild and reckless ways that something like a giant RPG doesn't invite you to do. Because if you ruin your run in a roguelike, it does not matter. You've ruined one run. Now, once your run starts going well, you might get a little nervous. You might go, oh, I don't want to ruin this run. I don't want to mess this up. Let's get through this playthrough. I want to see if I can win on this one. But generally speaking, it's low stakes. You die? Oh, man. Well, at least I unlocked a lot of stuff. At least I discovered more stuff. At least I heard some new music instead of that music that's been going over and over and over again in that one zone, right? Depending on the game and how many times you've gone through one particular area, just little changes in the atmosphere can be a huge reward in and of themselves. Now, this relates to life and game development and skill development in so many different ways. So many ways that I could talk a lot about. I could go on and on about how exploration is a really important and powerful way of learning. I could go on and on about taking the pressure off, and I have gone on and on about that in the past, and not having one perfect run, and not just being open to restarting, right? Being open to exploration and discovery and trying things from different angles. Now, I'm going to talk about something that's kind of adjacent to all of this in the next section of the podcast, but first I want to tackle one particular part of Hades, and this is going to be as close as I come to a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler. There is no story spoiler, really. There's a mechanical mood spoiler that I'll cover over the course of the next, let's say, 30 seconds. Okay. So in Hades 2, there's a portion of the game in which you cannot progress in a certain zone without dying and then returning. Right? You're going to die and come back. You're going to die and come back, maybe multiple times. And that creates the feeling of it is impossible for me to progress here, genuinely. Now, spoilers are done. No more spoilers. So that sense of impossible to progress That sense of I absolutely have to fail in order to succeed. Right? This sense of the way that I am doing this will not work. This feeling of doom got over me while I was playing Hades. There was a moment in the game where I went, I don't want to go into this part of the game. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I want to avoid that. And I don't know why. It had more of an impact on me than I would have expected. I didn't feel like playing the game for a second. I was like, I'm not really interested in playing it right now. Like I was emotionally avoiding a part of the game. I was going, things are a little different than they were before, so now I don't want to play. And it's like, like this happens to me on games all the time. This is like, the mechanic switched up a little bit, and I kind of like how the mechanic was before. Or in some games, what game to not name? If there's a game with a character that I'm attached to, and then that character is no longer part of the story, then I will go, nope, I'm out. Right? There'll be that instinctive feeling of like, I don't want to play it anymore. And really good game design, really good narrative design makes you go, I'm going to keep playing anyway. We've got those games from our childhood. I try not to spoil even the oldest of old games that everybody knows the spoiler from. But like, there are games where a character dies and you go, I don't know if I want to keep playing. And if it's really well written, they're going to make you want to keep playing, right? I've gone on a bit of a tangent, but the point that I'm making is there are things in the game that make you go, I don't want to confront this negative emotion. I don't want to experience this negative vibe. It's easier to just not play the game right now. Right? And it's a very subtle little thing. It's not like a very strong emotion, and then it comes around with bugs and stuff too, of just like, or extremely high difficulty spikes where you just go, Jesus Christ, I don't want to deal with that. I'm not going to play it. And then eventually the game hits the back shelf and you never touch it again. That kind of thing also happens with game development, with skill development, with anything like that. And sometimes all you need is a little resource that opens up a new method for you. And sometimes all you need is just a different method. Sometimes you go, or a different goal too, right? Sometimes it is a different goal. But there are times when all you need to do is just a very slight shift, little pivot to the left a little bit, pivot towards something that's more of your strength, use a different build in a game, focus on a different goal, sure. But a lot of the times you can accomplish the very goal that you were looking at with only a slight change to your methodology. And that's the stuff that I want to dig into. One of the things that I struggle with is putting my thoughts into very clear and concise explanations, which is an odd thing to struggle with if I'm also doing a podcast where I'm expressing all my thoughts. But clear and concise is tricky for me. I can go on and on about an idea. I can elaborate on it from multiple different angles. It's often difficult for me to tighten it up. And I've been trying to do that verbally. It is a little bit impossible for me. It is a little bit of an impossible goal for me, but it's not. I executed on a different method, which was writing, and instead of writing with my normal method of let's explore this idea as much as we possibly can to find out everything that I can about it, I just wrote with a different mindset of, okay, write whatever you're going to write, figure it out, and use this to navigate the idea and get to the essence of it. And I wrote on this topic and ultimately ended up getting a better understanding of what it was that I was thinking about. Because this wasn't something I was just running into in games. I ran into this at work too, where something felt impossible and then it was like, there's just a different method for doing it. And I was like, I don't want to fall into the trap in the future of believing something is impossible and then not having somebody to show me, no, it's extremely possible, here's how you do it. I want to notice when something feels impossible but actually isn't. And that's why I ended up exploring this idea. So here's what I ended up. This is my most clear and concise explanation of this thought. What feels like an impossible goal is often just an impossible method. All that's needed is a little tweak, and the more natural that tweak is, the better. Bad methods fight against nature. They fight against the established foundational systems that you are building on top of. Good methods build on top of them. Brilliant methods tap into the deepest, most foundational and natural principles of whatever it is that you're doing. If you only know one or two methods for reaching your goal or accomplishing whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, and you learned those methods through memorization, by rote, or whatever, and you just took it on faith, you're in trouble. But if you know several different methods and understand the foundations well enough to invent your own or to improvise off of those methods that you already have, then you're standing on solid ground and you're going to be able to figure it out. And that is the approach that I want to take in game development. And that is the approach that I want to take in life. I want to see an impossible goal and somewhat automatically go, what methods do I have of accomplishing this? Are these methods good? Do I understand these methods? What am I missing here? Why does this seem like an impossible goal? Do I need to do something completely different? Do I need to do research? Do I need to do experimentation? Do I need to shift the goal a little bit or not? And my inclination, my feeling while I've been writing about this, while I've been trying to sort this whole idea out, I've been trying to figure out when and how to shift a goal, because I have a stubbornness to me. And maybe you have this as well, maybe you don't. But once I set a goal, like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And then I either go, okay, well, I guess I'm not doing that, or maybe we shift the goal. I don't know. But I don't want to shift the goal until it feels impossible. And I go, well, it's impossible. It was a bad goal. I should have designed a different goal. So we're going to design a different goal. That goal was impossible. It was never going to work. That's kind of cope. That's kind of just a way of avoiding learning a difficult thing, isn't it? But then the other version of that is going, no, I will get this done, and then trying again and again and again to get it done in the exact same way. And that's a really good way to waste a lot of time without learning something. But if you can experiment with different ways, if you can approach it from different angles, you can find what experiments to run and look at it as a giant learning experience, then even if it does turn out to be an impossible goal, which very well may be the case, I do think impossible goals genuinely exist. If it turns out to be an impossible goal, you will know enough that you'll have learned from it, you've gotten something from it, and you will be able to find the next closest possible goal, And I think, not 100% on this one. This one I didn't quite settle in on, but I'll give it to you anyway. I think that the best use of my time, maybe, is to assume that it is possible, regardless of how impossible it sounds, right? Whatever the goal is, start with the assumption that it is possible, and then try to find a method, try to find another method, try to find another method. Test the methods, don't just play them out in your head. Play with them, try them out, see how much progress you make. And then, if you start making progress, start figuring out what's going on there. Look at the foundations of what is and isn't working. The stuff that is working, is it something you can build on? Is there something there that you can get a little bit more progress out of? Is there more juice for the squeeze, or is that everything that you can get? The stuff that isn't working, does it just require a slight pivot? What's keeping it from working, and how do you adjust for that? This is something I'm excited about. I want to keep exploring this. Aside from that, let's talk about my game development very quickly. I did a little bit of development, mostly Godot UI stuff, right? Mostly creating this menu with a sprite in the middle of it and a combat menu, a very static combat menu, a different angle on it, again. Sprite in the middle, sprite in the bottom right for me, health displayed as a percentage rounded to 1 decimal place for both of those, a heal button that heals me and has a counter for how many more charges of healing I have. Connected it all together pretty nicely. And that's about it. That's it for this week as far as my game development went. I also made some note cards alongside that to memorize some very basic but very important things about Godot. Like, okay, one thing that I kept running into is whenever I use a for UI stuff, there's a VBox container and an HBox container, vertical and horizontal box containers. And I never know at first glance, just by name, which one is doing what. One of them creates columns, one of them creates rows. At least the way that I conceptualize it. And somebody may hear that and may think, oh, it's this one and this one. And I've got it flipped, right? Because conceptualizing things is weird. But for me, I have horizontal box container. And I think, okay, that creates columns. Whatever I put in it is going to go into one of the horizontal boxes that's dividing into. But like my brain tries to automatically make it into rows because rows are a horizontal thing. And then the vertical box, columns are a vertical thing. So then I try to make it, but I've got it flipped. So I've dedicated that to a note card so that I can remember those on an instinctive kind of automatic level. And then whenever I go to put one of those UI containers in, that is just one less thing to annoy me. One more thing that just flows smoothly. And as I'm creating some UI elements or just dividing stuff up on the screen, I can go, oh yeah, this is pretty comfortable and clean and whatever, And I put something in there about stretch ratio so that I can have that kind of solidified in my brain a little bit. And I'm trying to build a solid, foundation for myself for working in Godot. And that, I think, is going to make things a lot easier when I don't have that much time. I hop in, do a little dev, I don't have to refamiliarize myself with it every time. I can go in and go, no, I remember this stuff because I have these note cards that I review when I'm on lunch or when I'm stuck, like, what's a good example? I'm stuck waiting for food at a restaurant or something. Like I ordered something and I don't really use online ordering. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I show up at a restaurant, I put in my order, and then I stand there and I wait. And I think a lot of people probably look at that and they go, "You do what? you lunatic? I will be in the car and I'll go, okay, I can drive over to this restaurant, order a couple burritos, take them away, go home, eat them at home. And I have like a 5-minute drive to the restaurant, and I will not order it online." And you might be thinking, that's a huge waste of time. Then you're just standing there. And in my brain, I'm going, no, I'm saving time because I'm not dealing with their ordering app, and then I'm not getting emails from them later, and then I'm not getting notifications, and I'm not having to deal with all this stuff. So I don't really care. And then those 5 minutes are 5 minutes where I can think and clear my head and just do some note cards. Anyway, maybe that's just me. That's just the way I prefer to do things, I guess. Maybe I should explore the other method, but I don't want to because I'm trying to get off of my phone for that kind of thing. I'm okay with using my phone for note cards because they're not a source of major distraction. If I have to interact with a browser or an app where somebody can be advertising to me, no good. Not cool. Not happy with it. I've gotten sidetracked here. So development is going well. I'm happy with the amount that I did with the UI stuff in Godot. Developing on Linux has been fine. I haven't done that much with it yet, to be honest, but gaming on Linux has also been okay. I've only been playing like Hades 2, so it's been going great. I am not the guy to talk to about really high-end games on Linux, but Expedition 33 ran. That's cool. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, bad name. I don't know. Rebirth, the second one, seemed to run. That's about it. That's kind of the update there. I'll come up with a little challenge for you, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, I've got it. It came to me immediately. Here is your challenge for this week, or your question for this week, whatever it may be. I would like you to notice something that feels impossible. That's it. That's the whole challenge. Just notice something that feels impossible. And if you can, this is an annoying angle on this, but hear me out. Make it the most possible impossible. You know what I mean? Like if you notice multiple things that feel impossible, which one of them feels more possible than the others? You know what I mean? Like there is a spectrum of it, of how frustrating it is, and some things feel more or less possible. And then if you want to, extra credit. Sorry, teacher energy coming out today, coming in hot with it. If you want to, see if you can find a different angle to do the impossible thing. But mostly, I'm interested in people's experiences of the impossible. You know what I mean? And feel free to hop into the Discord and chat about it. I haven't been good about like keeping discussions going or starting discussions on there. But if you want to hop in and be proactive and, build the community a little bit, feel free to. And this would go in the episode discussion channel. I think that's all I got for you this week. Oh, no, hold on. I have a question. And this is just a me thing. Has anybody played that game Ball X Pit on Steam? It looks very interesting to me. I haven't bought it yet because I've been playing Hades 2 and I kind of want to just I'm kind of trying to go one game at a time, man. But I can't stop myself. I keep looking at this game and going, ooh, this reminds me of a game from my childhood, Tyrion. It reminds me just enough of Tyrion plus a brick breaker. It's exciting to me. I'm interested in this game. If anybody's played it and has a little review on it, let me know because I'm curious. Okay, that's everything I got for you today. I'm gonna end up playing that game. I'm gonna end up buying it. I know I'm going to. It may be a few weeks, but you can look forward to hearing me ranting and raving about that one. If it's good, or just going, it was kind of good. If it's kind of good. That's everything I got for you this week. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Yeah. Until next time, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. Even if it's impossible, play around with it.